It's Star Wars Day.
Da, 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 da. Woohoo!
May the 4th be with you.
Yay.
Happy Star Wars Day.
I didn't plug it in though.
That's a sad looking lightsaber.
And we have
Star Wars modes.
yes, yay! So we're all set. I hope you guys like Star Wars because that's all we're talking about.
So why is I gotta catch my tab? Why is Star Wars such a big deal?
Because it's fabulous.
But why do you think it's fabulous? Like, I agree. Like, I love Star Wars. Like, I'm back. I'm old enough to be able to say, like, I saw Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back.
Back when?
Back in like the 70s. I went into an old theater. I was back to back. I saw them both double feature in the theater. And I remember when Return of the Jedi came out. So, like, I love it too. But why? Why is it such a big deal?
Well, it's a classic hero's journey, right? It's for anyone who writes stories or movies or whatever, it's the classic story about someone who doesn't know he's got this power, and then he doesn't believe he can do anything, and then he believes he can do something, but he doesn't want to go and do it, and it's the hero's journey. It's very classic. And I think it's just because there's those characters that are very distinct and likable, and you remember them because they are very clearly identifiable. It's kind of like totally different concept, but Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? I know, but I'm just saying, like, if I say Rocky Horror Picture Show, the characters.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So it's classic, any Marvel show, but Star Wars is just it's beyond fabulous, right?
No, I had a hard time transitioning from the classics, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, to then, because I remember also when number 1 came out.
Yeah.
And to transition back, like, and then the 7, 8, 9 was that one I liked because I felt like that was more flashback.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, it's like, when you're invested in these characters, they're endearing. So when you see them 30 years later in a different realm or whatever, you're like, oh my God, I love this character. Like, who doesn't like Chewbacca?
Yeah.
Like, we have a Chewbacca head, but he was too high to get him.
It's too heavy. We have a room, not in the studio, but way over on the other side of the house. Loves Star Wars. So that's where we got this. And he has so much stuff. And I think that's the fascinating thing about Star Wars. Like, yes, I agree. Like, I can, the characters and all of that stuff. And we grew up with it. And it was our coming of age, which is why number 7, when it came out, I don't remember what it's called. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When it came out, it was our childhood, later in life. And it was for our generation. But the new generation is more, knowing the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But I'm fascinated also by the range. Like, I love Star Wars, but I don't love I'm not a collector of stuff. Right. Like, I do love the movies, and if they ever when they come out, I love watching them and all that kind of stuff. But then you get the whole other fan.
Yeah, which we have 2 of them here
in our world.
Yeah.
Like, they're what I call super fans.
Yes.
Which is, they will literally put it on anytime, and they have all the collectibles.
Yeah, and so I'm conditioned now. So when I go into a store, like these mugs, right? These are from the Mandalorian. These are
there's Yoda.
Well, baby Yoda. So it's Mandalorian basically. And so whenever I walk into a store and I find stuff, I always buy 2, so I can give 1 to each of them. One of them uses it, and the other one puts it on the shelf.
Yeah.
So it's very different.
But that's what I mean. I mean, the collectibles, like, I'm fascinated by that world that, they just love it so much that they want their whole.
Well, it's you know what, I think it. So I try to describe it for people that like. I have Buddhas around around the whole house, around everywhere I go. I always have Buddhas, and they go, "Oh, you're a Buddhist," and I go, "No," because the Dalai Lama said there's enough Buddhists in the world, so you don't, But I love Buddhas, and why? Because when I look at them, they make me happy. They put my my mood in a. I just feel better. I feel better when I look at them subconsciously. I know. So it's the same thing when you're collecting something. You look at it. If you love Star Wars, you look at it. It puts you in a great mood.
Brings you joy.
Right. So, and that's what a collectible should be. Whatever you collect, whether it's baseball cards or hockey cards, or some people McDonald's. The Happy Meals, people collect those toys like for years. Yeah, the Happy Meal toys.
Really?
For years and years and years. So if it makes you happy, cool. I don't think anyone's doing it to make a ton of money.
Right. You're not buying it hoping that this particular item will be worth hundreds of dollars, but you're right. I mean, there's people that maybe don't collect things, but they put things around their space.
Yeah, and then
bring them
happy.
joy.
So, like if you want a room full of Star Wars, cool, like good for you.
Absolutely.
And it's true. There are movies, just like, they'll put on every time, and Star Wars is always on. So anytime Star Wars is on, they watch it, right? Whatever. And it's the same thing when there's a movie that comes on that you like, you just leave it, even though you've seen it a million times, you leave it on.
What movie is that for you?
So many of them. Love Actually, I always leave on.
Really?
I always leave Love Actually, and I've seen it a million times, but there's so many. Like, and you don't even notice you're watching it, right?
Yeah. That Princess Bride is mine.
Yeah.
I can put it on. I can literally recite. I can put it on mute.
Yeah.
And recite the movie.
Well, exactly. And there's so many of them, and but you don't have to put it on, because when you come across it, you just leave it on.
Correct. Yeah.
And you won't even realize you've left it on.
Yeah. But it brings me joy.
Yeah. So
I'm all about that.
So many of them. I mean, I always just when I'm in the background and I'm working, or I'll throw on like Friends and like some of the comedy shows, and I won't be listening, but it just. They've always made me happy because they made me laugh. And so they're in the background, and that kind of puts you in the mood. It's just like listening to music or anything else, but it is Star Wars Day. So those of you who are real fans, I'm a big fan of the new stuff as well. I love Mandalorian. And I love all of the new ones that are coming out. The Boba Fett, we just watched Boba Fett, which was fantastic. And then Obi-Wan is coming out end of May.
Okay.
That's what you.
I'm not there.
So
there's levels. I love Star Wars. She really loves Star Wars, and then there's the super fans.
I really appreciate the new. First of all, I appreciate the fact that how they've woven the characters in and stayed true to the storylines, which has been amazing. Like the Boba Fett one has been amazing, and then you learn something, which is kind of cool. I know we're still talking about Star Wars, but I watched Dune. Right, I watched Dune, the new Dune, which was fabulous for anybody likes sci-fi. And then I did a lot of reading on it, and it was interesting because there's a lot of similarities. Mm-hmm. And then what you realize was George Lucas took a lot from Dune.
Right.
So a lot of it does have very similar storylines, but again, it's all about the hero's journey. It's just that there's very specific. So it'd be interesting if the new Dune, not the old one. So if you watch the new one, if you're a Star Wars fan, go back and watch it, because you'll go, wow, I can't believe it's so similar.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So happy Star Wars Day.
Yeah. That's what about Star Wars, right? So what's going on with you?
I'm just going to leave this on here because I think it's cool. Well, we, I don't know if you can tell, but we are in the studio, and we're very happy with the screen that we're able to have behind us, which the big May the 4th be with you instead of the small.
Yeah.
So we're definitely moving forward. I think we are coming up on the 1 year anniversary of the purchase of this particular building.
Yeah.
House, whatever you want to call it. We call it the farm.
Yeah.
So I think what I want to do, I'm going to talk to you about this. Because we always do it live. Mm-hmm. I think what I want to do is the flashbacks. So I think what I'm going to start doing is posting some flashbacks, because we did a lot of renovations in May of last year when we first came upon this place. So, and I have a ton of video and pictures of transitions, and they're kind of cool. So I do, because like we've been talking about it for the past year, but we haven't shown you a lot. So I'm going to start posting some flashbacks to the before, the afters, because this place has been a little bit of a love project. Sometimes a hate project, but mostly a love project. And I'm finding it fascinating. Like even a year later, like I think back to like what this room looked like when we first, walked through the doors, what did the
church
exactly, which is why the sound is so interesting in here and I'm fascinating. You could hear us if you were on the other side. The kitchen, the family, like all of the spaces have been touched. So I'm looking forward to, again, showing some before and afters because I think they're really cool.
And you'll notice that, we've been doing this all along and we didn't stop and say, okay, we're not doing anything until it's finished. So we've made do. Whatever we've used along the way, wherever we were, we still continued on in our business. So sometimes, people say, well, I can't until I have a studio or I can't until I have lights. We didn't have this set up until just recently. So we were using whatever we could use. And as you go along, you improvise, you go, oh, maybe I can add this in me. And everything changed as we went along, right? So we got this new screen and you guys just put up on Saturday.
So like literally kind of done kind of thing. And we're still not done.
No, and it's good because it's so big. And so when we do live training or any training videos, you can stand on the side and flash up your slides and everything and follow along, which is great. So we took the old screen we had and we put it across the other side of the room so that if we want, we can put, prompts or whatever we want on it. So if, for example, if we were doing a summit or we were doing a video series, we can flash up there to remind us what we're doing next rather than, trying to figure it out. So there's kind of cool little things that you go, oh, well, since I have this extra piece, I'll use it here, where you don't really think about it. If you were planning it from the start, you don't think about it that much. But as the more you use the space, the quicker you decide.
And that's why you should do that.
Yeah.
You should always use and that's any renovation company will tell you that. Like, don't make a decision until you've lived in the space. And the most interesting part is that over the past year using the space, it has transitioned.
Totally.
And if you had asked us what it was going to look like a year ago and what the original plan was,
it was very different
versus what it looks like today, very different.
The only thing that stayed the same was the color.
Chantilly lace and pretty
So my go-to white is Chantilly lace by Benjamin Moore, and when in doubt, just paint it Chantilly lace.
Anyway, no, but I think that's the fascinating part is that, again, the different rooms that we've had and the plans and that's with anything. And we can even go back to some of the programs that we've run. Our original plan for this was, going, doing step 1, 2, 3. But when you dive a little bit deeper and you get feedback from people like you live in your space, right? You end up kind of going, actually, this is a way that we could make it better.
Yeah.
And this is a way that we could make it better. And how could we improve on this? And how could we use it a little bit differently?
Yeah.
And we're, as you know, we're in the process of revamping some of our stuff. And it's because we had to live in it.
Yeah.
And figure out how can we make it better? How can we make it easier? And how can we make more and give more within the same program?
Yeah. How can we make it better? There's always improvement. And, that's why we were, as we were progressing and finishing this area, and spring is coming. And we have a lot of things that we want to do. We're in a forest. We're in a fern forest. And there's a lot of things that we want to do and bring out. And so for me, it was a couple of weeks ago, I was like, okay, I need to now, we've done a lot of work for everybody else, for everything we've done. And now it's time to finally say, okay, I need to actually dedicate some time for myself, right? And I used to always poo-poo all the people that said, you need to look after yourself, self-care, which is great if you have time. But I really very rarely have any time. No. But finally, I said to Stacy, we need to start helping other people and helping ourselves at the same time. So what's a better way to do it than do a summit? One that basically is, let's bring up some great speakers and great coaches, and that will teach us how to feel better. That's it.
Yeah.
How to feel better. So so that's where we're going, and we're gonna do it the first weekend in August. And we're probably going to have about 30 different speakers. We'll tell you all about it. We're just setting it up now, but it's really about using nature therapy, ecotherapy, forest therapy. And you don't have to have a forest because you can come along with us. So, and that's going to happen, as I said, the first week of August. And it's important to understand that there are little simple ways that you can, use some of these ideas to feel better. So I'll tell you my experience. You wanted to
go ahead? No, I was just going to say, like, just nature in general. Like I said, you don't have to go for a walk deep in the forest. You don't have to go to these big parks and stuff like that. You probably have a space in your backyard. And one of the reasons why we're doing it in the summer is, well, first of all, it's the summer and it's nice here in Canada. Yeah. So it'll give us time for people to take advantage of some of this stuff if you want to get outside in August, September, and into October, rather than doing it in the fall where we're going to be then going into winter, where in Canada it's not really the greatest. Yeah, but in Australia it'll be summer. So, but it's still always nice there.
And we're going to continue to do things in the winter through here live. So we'll I think it's important for everyone to understand that, we're both city people. So we're not very granola-ish. And so
we're not living off the grid.
No, we're not off the grid. And so it's interesting though, because more and more studies show us that getting back to nature, going for a simple like 5-10 minute walk can completely change how you feel. And so we want to investigate all that and bring it to you so that you can join us on that journey, so that you can say, okay, maybe I'll take 5 minutes, I'll take 10 minutes, I'll walk here. And here's the beauty of any kind of forest or nature therapy. We're going to be filming outside. And if you sit quietly, just alone with the video, you'll be able to experience that. So you'll have some of the benefits because you'll have the sounds and the sights. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but you will still benefit from it. It's like, think about all the apps when you're listening to calm meditation, nature sounds. It's the same thing. You will get the benefit by listening to that. Is it better to be live? Sure. But we like to show you the ways that you can benefit without having to say, okay, I don't have anywhere to go. Like if you have a single tree in your backyard, it's good enough.
Absolutely.
Right? If you don't have a backyard, go to a park. If you don't have a park, watch the videos.
Exactly.
Right?
There's ways to access nature in general, which I'm really looking forward to.
And I think, for me, it was you get to a certain age and you go, okay, I don't want to do stuff that I don't like. So how can I feel better and start incorporating this into my life without having to, go to a gym and do an aerobics class. Like I'm just not there anymore. So it was funny. So the other day I was like, okay, I have to really start getting back into something fitness wise other than just, stretching and doing a little bit of yoga, which is what I'm doing. And I was sitting in bed in the morning. And so this is what I do in bed in the morning. I read Apple News because it's my favorite thing in the world, but I can stay on Apple News for hours. So I was like, what can I do? Okay, if I was going to do some exercise, I don't want to get up in the morning and do it because like I can't even imagine getting, jumping around or lifting weights because I just don't feel like it. I can't do it in the afternoon because we're busy. Can't do it at night because that's wine time.
I'm tired.
So
I'm tired at the end of the day. I don't know how people work out at like 8:00 at night.
So I'm like, okay, so that basically rules out the entire day. So how am I going to do this? So I sat there and I'm like, what would make me get up in the morning and feel happy about doing it? And I remembered an old program back 100 years ago. Everyone remembers Sean T. He did a program called Hip Hop Abs. And I loved it because it was like more like, hey, dance, hey. So I went down down to my basement because I had room there, and I have a TV, and I have the Beachbody app, which is no DVDs anymore. Everything's on.
Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
Getting like the DVD pack in
Yeah.
the mail, and you had to like.
Yeah, and hip hop apps came with weights on your hands. I don't have those anymore.
We have to find them. There has to be a way to get them.
So I went downstairs, and it was 6:00, and I put it on. And it was so much fun. I did ab sculpt and one of the other ones, they were 20, but it didn't feel like I was working because I'm like, hey, Shanti. And it was just fun. It was fun. And
Hashtag pop abs.
so what got me up in the morning, it was because I knew in my brain was like, oh, that was fun. That wasn't work. That was fun. And so I got up and did it. And then I did it the next day. And then I realized, like, I got to be careful because if you get obsessed, then it's a problem because then you'll fall off the wagon quick.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so how do I incorporate something in to keep it going? And I thought, all right, so we need to make a commitment that says that, we're going to do something. What it is, don't know. We're going to do something every day, every other day, whatever it is. And, the only way I can keep honest is if I post.
Okay.
So I thought, all right,
Well, there's accountability. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of put it out there to say, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
So I thought and I don't want to, story is fine. You don't want to put a reel out and all that crap because not everyone wants to see it. But I thought, all right, so if I commit to 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I put that up on my story and say, hey, this is what I did this morning. And then for anyone that wants to, come along, they don't have to do the same thing as me. But here's the good thing. If you DM me, slide in my DMs or Stacy's and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, we'll tag you.
Well, no, you can put the sticker on the story that says add yours.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you can just click it and then you can add yours and we see that.
Yeah.
Which is perfect because there is an accountability piece, 110%. I think there's a good way to showcase what you're doing without sort of the bragging piece. Because I find there's a lot of people that will like, hey, look at me, aren't I awesome?
No.
And then there's the people that showcase and do videos of their workouts.
Yeah.
So there's a middle ground. And I think the middle ground, you're right, is accountability. Yeah. It's the sharing. It's the join me. It's the, I'm not doing it perfectly. I'm not going to show you running on a treadmill.
No.
But here's what I'm doing. And I'm doing it for my own mental and physical health.
Right. And then some days it might be you're going for a walk. And some days it might be you're doing meditation, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But if you actually post it or tag it or whatever, then you're like, okay, if I'm committing, then I'm committing.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've seen people in the past who have said, I'm starting, like this program, like the 75 day one, that one, 75 hard or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of different
and
ones.
They post and then like 2 weeks later, it's just disappeared. You never see the posts anymore because they stopped. So we're not looking for that. We're just saying if you want to commit, maybe this is a good way to start the cycle so that, again, you can come join us in our free summit. It's free in August. So you'll be able to learn lots of new things to, again, help with your journey of feeling better, basically. So what do you think?
Well, I think it's really good because, again, it's that middle ground. Because I feel like there's a lot of people who will go cold turkey, meaning go big or go home.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they fail.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm all in, I'm going to do this every day and all that kind of stuff. And they post. And I have no issue with the post and the accountability. What I have an issue with is too much too soon.
Right.
And then there's I'll dip my toe in, where I'll do something once a week that isn't really beneficial from that perspective. And they're not really, again, they don't have the accountability. So I like the idea that you're doing something. You don't have to go to the gym 3 times a week. You don't have to do a full body workout 3 times. Okay, so one sec. We might be
Are we
still,
still
I think we're
live?
still live.
I have to check my phone.
Yeah, no, we're back.
All right.
And we're back.
Sorry about that, guys. Don't know
That
what
was
happened.
that was a weird hiccup of things, but as we all have said many times, it happens when you're live.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen. You're going to cut out whatever ends up happening. I will put a couple of comments below for the people that are watching the replay to say it bleeps out and
Maybe
we come back.
somebody didn't like that part about you got to do something every day or every other day.
I don't know. The internet won't like that.
And they just said, you know what? We're not interested.
No, thank you. I want to do nothing. The internet wanted to do nothing. The internet did not want to do something every 3 days.
No.
But no, but in all seriousness, I've been having a conversation. As you know, I'm friends with a couple of gym owners, and I've been having conversations with them trying to get me back. Don't tell them. I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time because I'm not sure that that's
where you want to be right now.
Yeah, I guess if I'm being completely transparent and honest, which I decided I will be this morning. For some reason, I typically drank some Honest juice on May the 4th. But I don't know. I'm not sure if maybe that's exactly right. I'm not sure if that's where I want to be, but I feel like I want to do something, but I'm not sure that I want to go that, because I was, I would say pre-COVID, and I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a COVID reason. It's not what I'm saying, but I feel like before I was going probably like 4 times a week. I was doing like one-on-one. I was in what I considered probably good shape. I wasn't in great shape, but I was in good shape. I was able to follow along with the class. I was able to do a lot. And then COVID hit, and I tried to do the online piece, tried to do online classes and stuff. It wasn't for me, but I still really like the concept of boxing. And actually, Faye and I were talking about that last night, that you said like one of the online apps that you said has some classes. So I'm going to try to do, I think if anything that COVID has taught us is you don't have to do what you did before. And I think that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to go back to the pre-COVID life. I want to go back to normal. Everyone keeps saying, let's go back to normal. Let's go back to normal.
Right.
I'm not sure I want to go back to normal.
No, I just want to go to new normal.
Right. And that's the difference. I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards.
Yeah.
And we've learned a lot over the past couple of years, and I don't want to throw that away.
No.
I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about what I can do. I've learned a lot about my own self-care and what I need and when I need it. So I'm finding it within myself an interesting transition.
Yes.
So I do want to do something. I'm not sure what that something is, but if I can mix it up and like you said, do a meditation, a couple of times a week, or just go for a walk a couple of times a week, or whatever the case is.
Right. And I think
then that's a good start.
I think that's the whole key is just like, and it's the reason when I got up and did the hip hop abs, it's because normally
is that the 90s?
I don't even know.
I have to go find it.
Shanti, shout out. Are you still doing shit? I have to look. He's probably got a bunch of new stuff.
I know. Maybe he has a YouTube channel.
He probably does.
We're gonna find out.
So, but what I realized was before COVID, I used to have I'm a certified yoga teacher. I had a yoga studio, so that was always my go-to. But I used to teach power classes and hot yoga classes, and that's not in my wheelhouse anymore. It's not. But
you've also taught meditation.
I teach yoga nidra, meditation, very relaxing, and we're going to do that. So stay tuned because you've taught self Reiki.
Yep.
So we're going to do both of those in the forest, in the summit. So stay tuned for that. But what I realized was back before, I used to be very strict on what I did. So if I was going to follow a program, it's the only one I would do. Like, you know, and you can go into a program, for example, on any of the apps, and it'll say 90-day this or 60-day this, and people will follow along because they do it. But what I realize is I don't want to do that anymore. So what I want to do is, reason I love apps. So whether it's Beachbody or Apple or Peloton or
because Apple has
Apple
amazing.
Fitness is amazing.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: you can get up in the morning, and if you've said I've committed to do something, you can, and if you want to use an app, you can flip to whatever class you want. Yeah. It doesn't have to follow anything because it doesn't matter. So if you want to feel like get up and you go, I just want to do some light weights, or I just want to do some treadmill walk, because you can do classes that are treadmill classes.
Yeah.
So if you do need to follow along, because that's what gives you discipline, then do a treadmill class, do a spin class. They're all on your apps, right?
Yep.
You want to do light weights? They're there. You want to work, what's that thing called? The bar thing,
Weights.
Yeah, the one with the bar.
Still weights.
Yeah, that thing. There's classes on that. You can see how much I do that one. There's boxing classes. Like I said, if you have a boxing bag, there's one that my kid did for a while called 12 rounds, which is pretty awesome. And there's so many other, and again, meditations. There are audios you can listen to for walking. So I think the key is now in this new era, the key is not to have to follow a program, but to get up in the morning and go, what do I feel like doing today?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what does my body, if you really listen and maybe do a little bit of a, if you wake up and you do kind of a body scan, you think, okay, what does my body feel like it can do today? Because some days it does not want to run. It does not want to do a lot of aerobics. And then some days you're like, okay, I want to jump on a treadmill, or, I want to get on a bike. Like, it just, but I think the mistake people make is if they say they're going to do a spin class every day, and some days they don't feel like it, that's when you fall off.
And that's the problem, is that you fall off the wagon and you don't get back on the wagon. So if you make a commitment to do something, whatever your body wants, even if it's just sitting in silence for 5 minutes, that's okay. You don't have to. And I think that's some of the challenges, like you said, with all the classes and stuff like that. I'm going to do this for 75 days. What if I wake up and I don't want to?
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Be okay with that.
It's okay. And it comes to, we're going to discuss, eating well and doing all of that as well, because I think, it's the same thing with diets or healthy eating, depending on what you want to call it. It's the same thing. People will go, I followed this plan and then I fell off the wagon on day 5. And so I'm done.
Yeah.
And so, like, you don't need to be done. You just pick yourself up and you keep going, right?
Exactly.
So you're allowed to, have whatever you want and then go back onto the plan. Like, people are just too hard on themselves. And I think that's the whole point of the summit. We're trying to make it a little bit softer, a little bit, available to you, a little bit easier to say, you know what, I'll just do what I need to do in the time frame that I need to do it.
Listen to the force.
Yeah.
Because it will tell you what you need to do.
That's right.
And may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.